The easiest person to lie to is nobody but yourself. Now, today I will talk about the top 4 lies that teenagers believe in. The first lie is you have plenty of time. When you were a little kid, sure, from 0 to 13 years old, you have 13 years. But from 13 to 18, you have 5. That sounds like a lot, but those 5 years go by fast. And that's exactly why telling yourself you have plenty of time is such a dangerous lie. Because plenty of time turns into procrastination. It turns into, I'll start next week, then I'll take it seriously next month. Then suddenly you're graduating and you're wondering where all the time went. The truth is, your teenage years are not just for figuring things out later. They're the foundation for who you become. The habits you build now, the discipline you practice now, the skills you learn now, all of it matters more than you think. You don't need to have your whole life planned out, but you do need to stop acting like time is unlimited, because it's not. And that brings me on to the second lie, which is just one more hour of scrolling won't hurt. Now, this one is genuinely one of the worst lies because it's never actually just 1 hour. Like, you tell yourself, okay, just a bit longer, and then somehow it's been 2 hours and you've done literally nothing. You say you'll stop after one more video, then one more turns into 10 more, and before you know it, your whole afternoon's gone and you don't even know where it went. Like, for example, I have 8 hours of screen time and it's only 7 p.m. right now while I'm recording this. I woke up at 8. That means more than half of my day has literally been spent on my phone, which is actually mad when you think about it. And the thing is, I get it. We all scroll. I scroll, most teenagers scroll. It's easy, it's entertaining, and when you're bored, it's just the first thing you do without even thinking. But that's exactly why it's such a trap, because it doesn't feel bad while you're doing it. It just feels like, oh, it's only 5 minutes, or I'll get off in a sec. But you don't. And those little 5-minute moments add up way faster than you think. And then the worst part is, it doesn't just waste your time, it messes with your brain as well. It makes normal things feel boring. Homework feels boring. Reading feels boring. Even just sitting down and trying to focus feels boring because your brain gets so used to constant stimulation all the time. So no, one more hour of scrolling doesn't not hurt. It does hurt. Maybe not in some massive obvious way straight away, but over time it absolutely does. And that brings me to the third lie, which is, I'll start tomorrow. And I'm not even gonna lie, this is one I say to myself all the time, like, I'll revise tomorrow, I'll fix my sleep tomorrow, I'll start going to the gym tomorrow, I'll stop wasting time tomorrow, I'll be productive tomorrow. And every single time I say it, it makes me feel better for a second because it feels like I've got a plan. It feels like I'm still gonna do the thing, just not right now. But that's exactly why it's such a lie. Because tomorrow is probably the easiest excuse in the world. It sounds harmless, it sounds reasonable, and most of the time it doesn't even feel like procrastination. It just feels like you're delaying it for a valid reason. Like maybe you're tired, maybe today's been a bad day, maybe you're not in the mood, maybe you just can't be bothered right now. And in your head that makes sense. So you tell yourself, it's fine, I'll just do it tomorrow. But then tomorrow comes and nothing changes. You're still tired, you're still not in the mood, you still don't feel ready, and you end up saying the exact same thing again. Then suddenly, a few days have passed, then a week, then a month, and the thing you said you were definitely going to start still hasn't even begun. And I think that's what makes this lie so dangerous. It doesn't feel like a lie when you're saying it. It feels comforting. It feels responsible almost. Because at least you're planning to do it, right? At least you haven't fully given up on it. But if you keep pushing everything back to tomorrow, then realistically, you're just finding a nicer way of saying, I'm not doing it. And I think a lot of teenagers do this with literally everything: schoolwork, revision, working out, fixing your sleep, learning a skill, trying to be more disciplined, even just sorting your life out in general. You know there are things you should be doing, and you probably even want to do them, but you keep waiting for the perfect time to start. You wait till you feel motivated, or until you've got more energy, or until life feels a bit more put together. But the truth is, that perfect moment literally never comes. You're not always going to wake up feeling motivated. You're not always going to feel ready to do hard things. Half the time you're going to feel tired, lazy, distracted, or just not bothered. That's normal. But if you only ever do things when you feel like doing them, then you're never going to be consistent with anything. And if you're never consistent, then nothing in your life is actually going to improve. Because the reality is, most of the things that are good for you don't feel good in the moment. Revising doesn't always feel good. Getting up early doesn't always feel good. Going to the gym doesn't always feel good. Working on yourself in any way usually doesn't feel easy. That's why discipline matters more than motivation, because motivation disappears so quickly. Discipline is what gets you to do things even when you really don't want to. And I know that sounds obvious, but it's true. Every time you say, I'll start tomorrow, what you're really doing is making the present version of you feel comfortable while making the future version of you deal with the consequences. You're basically handing your problems to tomorrow's version of yourself and acting like that solves anything, when really it just means tomorrow has even more to deal with. And eventually that catches up to you, because one day you realize you've been saying I'll start tomorrow for months, maybe even years. And the scary part is that your life can actually stay the same for a really long time if you keep living like that. You can stay in the same habits, the same mindset, the same routines, just because you keep convincing yourself that change will happen later instead of now. So yeah, I'll start tomorrow sounds small, but I genuinely think it's one of the most dangerous lies teenagers tell themselves, because it keeps you stuck without making you feel stuck. It makes you think you're still moving in the right direction, when really you're just standing still and making excuses that sound productive. And honestly, the fix for it is really simple, even if it's not easy. Stop waiting for tomorrow to become some magical version of today. It's not. Tomorrow is basically just another today. You're still going to be you, with the same brain, the same habits, the same excuses, unless you actually choose to do something differently. So if there's something you know you need to start, whether it's revising, fixing your sleep, going to the gym, or just getting your life together a bit, stop telling yourself you'll do it tomorrow. Do something today, even if it's tiny, even if it's badly done, even if it's only 10 minutes. Because starting badly today is still better than promising yourself a perfect tomorrow that never comes. And that brings me to the fourth and final lie, which is everyone else has their life figured out except me. And honestly, I think this is one of the biggest lies teenagers believe today, because if you spend enough time on social media, it genuinely starts to feel like everyone else is ahead of you. You open TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is, and you're constantly seeing people who look like they're living the perfect life. Someone your age is already making money, someone your age is traveling, someone your age looks insanely confident, someone your age has the perfect body, the perfect social life, the perfect relationship, and somehow they just seem like they know exactly what they're doing. And then you look at yourself and start thinking, what am I doing wrong? You start comparing your life to theirs, and you start feeling behind, like everyone else got some secret guide on how to live life, and somehow you missed it. But here's the thing, you're comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. You're seeing the best 10 seconds of someone's day, not the other 23 hours and 59 minutes. You don't see them feeling lost. You don't see them being insecure. You don't see the times they failed, the times they struggled, or the moments where they had no idea what they were doing. You're just seeing what they choose to show you. And social media is honestly really good at making people look like they have everything figured out. Someone can have a nice car, a good physique, lots of followers, and look extremely successful online. But you have no idea what's actually going on behind the screen. They could be struggling mentally. They could be unhappy. They could be just as confused about their future as you are. But because you only see the outside, you assume they have everything figured out. And I think that's where a lot of teenagers get trapped. They start thinking that because they don't have their dream life yet, they're failing. They think they should already know what career they want, who they want to become, what their purpose is, and where their life is going. But the truth is, most people don't know. Even adults don't have everything figured out. A lot of people are still learning, still changing, still trying to understand themselves. Nobody has some perfect plan where everything works out exactly how they imagined. Life is not a race where everyone starts at the same time and crosses the finish line together. Some people figure things out earlier, some people figure things out later, some people take longer because they're building something completely different. And the biggest mistake you can make is wasting your own time looking at someone else's journey instead of focusing on yours. Because every minute you spend comparing yourself to someone else is a minute you're not spending improving yourself. Instead of asking, why am I not where they are? Start asking, what can I do today to get closer to where I want to be? Because the person you're jealous of right now probably didn't become that person overnight. They built themselves through thousands of small decisions that nobody saw, and you can do the same. You don't need to have your whole life planned out at 15, 16, 17, or even 18. You just need to keep moving forward. Learn new things, build better habits, try things, fail, improve, keep going. Because the reality is, everyone is figuring it out. Some people are just better at hiding it. So don't let social media convince you that you're behind. Don't let someone else's success make you feel like you're failing. And don't forget that you're only seeing a tiny piece of someone else's life. Focus on becoming a better version of yourself, not a copy of someone else. Because at the end of the day, the only person you should be comparing yourself to is who you were yesterday. So yeah, those are the 4 lies that I think a lot of teenagers, including myself sometimes, end up believing. You think you have plenty of time, so you keep putting things off. You think 1 more hour of scrolling won't matter, but then somehow the whole day is gone. You keep telling yourself you'll start tomorrow, but tomorrow just turns into another tomorrow. And then you look online and start thinking everyone else is ahead of you and has everything figured out. But the truth is, these things don't feel like they're hurting you while they're happening. That's what makes them so dangerous. Wasting 1 hour doesn't feel like a big deal. Skipping 1 day doesn't feel like a big deal. Comparing yourself to someone online doesn't feel like a big deal. But all those little things add up. And I think the biggest thing I want you to take away from this is that you don't need to completely change your life overnight. You don't need to wake up tomorrow and suddenly become the most productive person ever. You just need to stop lying to yourself. Be honest about where your time is going. Be honest about the things you keep avoiding. Be honest about the habits that you know aren't helping you. Because at the end of the day, nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to magically give you discipline or motivation. It's something you have to build yourself, one decision at a time. And honestly, you have no idea how much you can change in a year if you actually start taking yourself seriously. So stop saying, I'll do it later. Stop waiting for the perfect time. Stop thinking everyone else is ahead of you. Just start.